There's only 28 inhabited planets in the universe? Well, that's dumb. It should have taken them like 10 seconds of thought to realize that that line is laughably inconsistent. How did Frieza operate an entire planetary trade market with only 28 planets? Some of which he didn't even know about. But that makes me think, how many species actually exist in Dragon Ball? Even on Earth itself, we have quite a few, followed by a ton of species after we leave Earth. Let's give her a look. Regardless of species, everyone is welcome to subscribe to my channel. Please? Did you sub? Okay, let's get into it. So, we start off with number 1, our boy Son Goku. And while even he doesn't know yet, he's a Saiyan, a space warrior, bred for combat, and sent to wipe out the population of Earth, a job that he miserably fails at. We ignore the awful super retcon that turns Goku's interesting and unique backstory into a Superman clone in this household. They have monkey tails and only grow black hair that stays the same length their entire lives. Another thing we choose to ignore is number 2, the sentient fish that Goku kills in the first chapter, because it has uncomfortable connotations. Goku meets number 3, Bulma, a human. They're like Saiyans, but worse in every way. Proving that is number 4, this pterodactyl guy who tries to eat Bulma. After that, we get number 5, the turtle. Okay, what's going on? It seems like all animals in Dragon Ball are sentient. Well, not all of them. We'll see some examples of non-sentient animals later, so clearly only some species are sentient. Number 6 is the bear-looking guy. This one even has clothing. And number 7 also wears clothing in Oolong, the anthropomorphic pig. This is my chance to complain about Oolong. Did you know that he's a kid in early Dragon Ball? That implies he probably should have grown as the story progressed. But he became such an unimportant background character, Toriyama forgot to age him up. So, he just stays the same size forever. And before moving on, Oolong is our first anthropomorphic animal, but he won't be our last. In the interest of time, I'm going to lump all of the random background characters into the anthropomorphic group, as no one wants half of this video to be me listing all of the animal people Toriyama snuck in the background. I'll still mention the actual characters, but if there's an anthro, I won't give them a number. Number 8 is Puar, the little cat dude. After that, we get this rabbit dude, and then we get the Pilaf gang. Mai's a human, and Shu is a dog. And this brings into question, Dragon Ball seems to have sentient and non-sentient versions of the same species, as we get both a sentient dog and a normal one. Number 9 is Pilaf. He's a little gremlin, and who knows what he is. We never see anyone similar, or at least not on Earth. Does Shenron count? Why not? Number 10 is Dragon. After that, Goku brings Roshi, number 11, a mermaid. In the tournament, we get number 12, Giran, a dinosaur-looking guy, and 13 is Robot, as I'm pretty sure both Android 8 and Metallatron are both full robots and not cyborgs. Goku gets Star Warsed and fights 14, Booyan. 15 is this large octopus that Goku kills and eats. Okay, I'll confess, I don't know much about Dr. Slump, but Riley is a robot, right? And, from what I read online, Superman is actually an alien, so he's number 16. Karin is basically the same as Puar. Now, for the Fortune Teller Baba arc, this one is weird, cause like, are these monsters considered their own species? Or are they just dead humans? Let's just count them as separate. 17 is Vampire, 18 is Invisible Man, 19 is Mummy, and 20 is whatever Devil Man is. Oh, and Baba had a ghost attendant, so 21. Now, for the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, we get number 22, Ten Shinhan, being a Triclops. For 23, we have a reverse werewolf in Wolfman, and while Chaozu is modeled after a type of vampire, I'm pretty sure he's a human, and even if he is a vampire, we already had one. Number 24 is the iconic Namekian, in King Piccolo, and let's just put all of his demon spawn in at 25. After him, we encounter Mr. Popo for 26, and if you want to include Cyborg, then Tao Pai Pai is our first, for 27, meaning the first half of Dragon Ball ends on 27 species. Now out of those 27, only 4 of them are from separate planets, Saiyans, Earthlings, Namekians, and whatever Superman is. So, keep that in mind as we go into Z. This is where we actually get into the Saiyan lore, with Raditz, followed by Goku's travels to Otherworld, where we meet King Yenma and his Oni attendants for 28 and 29. Goku goes to visit number 30 in King Kai, and during the Saiyan arc we get the Cybermen for 31. Now, for the part you've been waiting for, the Frieza Force. Our first two guys are a human-like guy at 32, and this guy who is probably the same race as a pool at 33, followed by this reptile-looking guy at 34, and this dog-like guy at 35. Then, the Doctor, who heals Vegeta at 36, followed by Vegeta's encounter with 37 in Qui. 38 is this red guy, and 39 is this frog-looking guy, followed by Zarbon and Dodoria at 40 and 41. Oh, and Frieza himself is at 42. Gohan and Krillin encounter two more unique species for 43 and 44, and when we get back to Frieza, we see this guy with a long nose for 45, and 46 and 47, who we only see after they've been killed. Since we killed off all of Frieza's men, we don't get any more until the Ginyu Force arrives. While 4 of them are definitely separate species, Recoome could be the same species as an earlier guy, so we add Goldo as 48, Birder is 49, Jeice is 50, and Ginyu is 51. And that's it for the arc. Now, if you weren't counting, that makes for potentially 24 separate species that could all come from separate planets as we move on to the Android arc. We immediately get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 new species, bringing our total up to 59. Goku learned how to teleport from the Yardratians, so that's 60, and we go a while without anything new, unless you count Cell since he's his own thing for 61. And while looking at this arc, it occurs to me that we could consider half Saiyans their own species, so let's make it 62. We see Goku in heaven and there's a squid guy behind him for 63. A bit later, South Kaio says he has a fighter named Papoi who could take Goku. He doesn't appear in the manga, but being from South Galaxy, he must be a different species for 64. Now, at the tournament proper, we see Kibito and Kaioshin, who may or may not be the same species. Let's just give them 65. After them is our villains number 66 and 67, Babidi and Deborah. Oh, and Pui Pui is also here for 68. After that, number 69, Yakon fights Goku. And finally, we get the mighty Majin Buu for 70. We learn of number 71, the Metamorans, who created the fusion technique. Then we see the Elder Kai. We later learn that he's a fusion of a Kaioshin and a witch. That witch is probably a separate species, so 72. Okay, that's it for the original manga run. But there's one more thing. The Bardock special was, and I still consider it, canon. A lot of species from the special also make appearances in the manga, but one that doesn't is the old man working in the healing bay to make 73, and this Buckethead guy is 74. But surprisingly, that's it. Believe me, I checked. Everyone in Bardock's final struggle are races that we've already seen. You know what else is technically part of Dragon Ball Z? Battle of Gods and Resurrection of F. But the movies, not the bad anime arcs. In Battle of Gods, we get Beerus for 75 and Whis for 76. Then, we get into the big one, Resurrection of F. So first is 77 with Sorbet, and his boys, Shisami and Tagoma for 78 and 79. He has a frog soldier that makes it 80, and these two plain-looking guys behind him look to be the same species for our 81st. This movie makes Jocko part of the main canon for 82, and during the big raid battle, I actually only found 1, 2, 3, 4 new species, bringing us to a total of 86. Now, our potential number of planets by the end of the story ends up at 50. This doesn't include anyone who might be from the Demon Realm. And remember, Super tried to say there's only 28 planets. This whole video really highlights how creative Toriyama is. He made so many unique and interesting designs for even his background characters. Hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you next time.